Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Merceda Gooding, housing advocate, and I'm here today with different advocates in the Atlantic City community. We are here to talk about real talk from real people, community involvement in Atlantic City. The reason why we're here today is to talk about the rights of the tenants. We also talk about those leaders who was harassed or was retaliated against for advocating where they live at. We want to talk about the troubles of advocating in Atlantic City. Also, we want to talk about the human rights issue. We also want to talk about, is justice twisted for the rights of the advocates? We also want to talk about the dangers of being an advocate, as well as the reality of social injustice. Is that being really addressed? So today, right now, I have Ms. Derma Jones, who is the president of the Lighthouse Tenants Association, and also she is the RAB, Section 8 RAB secretary under the Atlantic City Housing Authority. How you doing today, Derma?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing just great. Just relax.
Okay.
Well, anyway, Derma, since you've been the president, let's talk about what troubles you have of exercising your rights as being a tenant leader here in Lighthouse Plaza.
Well, at this right now, I can say when I address certain things with management, when tenants come to me, when I have a meeting, I can start from there. When I have a meeting, when they give me some things they want me to address with management, certain things takes a while for her to repair different things, such as if anything break down their apartment, they take 2 or 3 days to fix it. So I'm on the phone calling her or meet, try to my time to meet with her by taking another board member with me when I do meet with her. And then certain things do get fixed, but not all the time. It takes a while to do that.
Is she very receptive, or is she respectable to your needs? Does she have an attitude when you ask her on the behalf of the residents?
Sometimes she does. Sometimes she does.
Okay.
Long as like I said, I took over as a acting vice president in September, and then I became president between around November.
Right.
And from that time, things have, we had to get organized, certain things, such as my board had to get organized with them. So her attitude now, it hasn't changed that much. I can say that.
Okay. Well, you know about the arsenal of my cars,
Yes.
which I know I'm the advisor of the Tenants Association, and I guess I was the big target. I don't know. But how do the residents feel after that arson of the cars about their safety within the building? Because right now I know there's not enough affordable housing here in Atlantic City for us to just move, the economic problems, the recession, so we just can't pick up and move. So how the residents really feel, and I know you have children, and how they feel about what happened.
Well, like you said, I have 3 kids, but the 2 that I have now, when that incident happened that day, we were scared. My kids were nervous. I was scared too. Some of the tenants, gave me some feedback about, that explosion could have damaged the whole entire building. At that time, I can honestly say, for myself, I felt like just leaving too. But in certain circumstances, you can't just pick up and just do that.
Right.
So
what was your response from the chief of police and the mayor in regards to that? Did they come out to your needs and guarantee some safety measures? How about a fire evacuation? I mean, I know you asked for that because I am the advisor. I mean, did anybody come out really for, on the benefit of the residents to ensure that they are safe?
Okay, with Chief Mooney, I wrote letters to him. I didn't get no response from him. I also had sent several letters to Mayor Langford, which is the city mayor of Atlantic City, and no response from him. And secondly, I can say at this point, when I did call him on the phone, and his response was, "There's nothing too much I can do about it." So at that time, I pretty much knew where the chief was going and what the mayor was, they wasn't going to do anything. So at that time, I can say honestly, I didn't get no support at all.
So, I mean, you didn't get the support from your government officials, the one that legislate laws here to ensure our safety for public concern, and then we have a police chief that is not coming out for your safety. So, I mean, if something else will happen, I mean, the fire evacuation, the fire department, I mean, don't you think there would be immediate response that you go out the side doors or whatever in case something like that happened? I mean, how do you really feel now? Not at that time, but I mean, is that something you just forgot and maintain living? Or you wonder in your mind, am I really, you know, as an advocate for the residents, don't you feel like you failed in some kind of process because they not, you know, responded to your needs?
Yes, just right now I do, because I feel like by him being the mayor of Atlantic City, he should have showed some type of compassion for the residents that here. He could have had a meeting with the board, my board members, anything. He didn't show no compassion at all, not even nothing. And right now, I still feel that same way. You know, he really don't really care. You know how our feelings here or anything like that.
I want to ask you another question. So, you know, I've been stepped back for a while, and I know that. Have you been getting any deals from the owner? Because I know that he tried to give me money when I was the president. So do you think that is he responding to you, trying to give you promises so you won't be a real advocate for the residents?
At this time now, the owner has not contacted me for no deals, nothing like that, no.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Oh. Well, I want to ask you another question. As far as the building concern, because I know that you've been fighting, we marched. Tell me a little bit about the march and what was said to the residents about the march, about the elevators for 5 months.
Okay, for 5 months last year, the elevator was only one was working at that time. We had a meeting with legal aid here with Mr. Dempsey and Mr. David Pardell, and they came to one of our meetings. At that time, they told us exactly to make a statement, we would have to do a protest. So that's what we decided to do.
Right.
So we got together that particular morning on a Tuesday in September, and we did the march. Steve Young, he was very supportive at that time. I called him to give me some type input what to do. He was right there. Mm-hmm. He told me to contact the Channel 40 News. The press came. We marched, and they gave, I gave an interview out there in front of Lighthouse Plaza.
Right.
And that's basically what we did. And I can say, but then that week's time, maybe a week later, the elevators were back working. But I say this, it really shouldn't took 5 months to get that elevator working. Because I look at it like this. We have a lot of handicapped people that live here, disabled, who depends on that elevator.
Right.
And basically, it shouldn't have took 5 months.
Right.
And even when I met with management in December, I met with her. And me and her went word to word about, well, you only had like 8 people out there marching. But like I told her, it shouldn't have took 8 people. It doesn't matter. We had 10 people out there.
Right.
We still had to do what we had to do.
Right.
And but I believe hardly, if we hadn't did that and make that call, the elevator was probably, right now, probably still that's like it is, not in working condition.
Yeah, that's one of the management tactics. Oh, the less number of people, that means we don't have to draw any concern. Right. That's the reason why it's important to know we have a human right in housing. I don't care if it's one person that have an initial problem. Management use those kind of tactics to minimize the problem and make excuses for not doing what they're supposed to do. Yeah. I want to ask you one last final question. Now, landlords, how do you feel about landlords giving money to people, politicians, who is running for office? The reason why I say that is because when